YouTube doesn't like my music, so we'll be doing it in voiceover only. Here we are, this is Stirling Castle. And people that come to visit Stirling Castle and Stirling itself usually arrive at the railway station or even the bus station or by coach or on horse. This is the Stirling station, and you can see that there's a great big road in front of it now. There's been a lot of changes about here, and there's a new squinty bridge there, and the bus station is right at the back of the picture there, just where that bus is going round. The bus station is built in the thistle marches, and you can get to the shops from there. It also got a good award for clever design, although I don't think so myself. Now from the station we go up Station Road, but this part of the Station Road has changed in the last few years, and so is the top of the Station Road. Modernisation. And that's the entrance to the Thistle Centre in front of you. The student accommodation is above the entrance there. Now there were 3 churches in this part of the town. 2 of them are away now. There was the North Church, the South Church and the Baptist Church. That's them there. Here we have one of the characters of Stirling. He's often seen outside the Thistle Centre playing his banjo. Now we're heading along Murray Place to the bottom of King Street. This is King Street. And that's Hugh Gavin in the doorway there, Drapers. And that's how it looked in the old days. Not a big difference. And here's the Golden Line. Burns is supposed to have scratched a poem on the window here. And there's the arcade. That's one of the first shopping centres in Stirling. For a long while it was the only one. And across the road we've got Graham and Morton's. They sold a lot of hardware stuff for farmers and do-it-yourselfers and anybody that needed tools. And Alexander's Stores here was on the right. Now it's sold dishes and household goods, pots and pans. I've seen Santa Claus visiting there one year. This is 2 Baker Street. Now this pub's had a lot of names. It was called the Hog's Head before that, and 1 or 2 more names before that. We're heading up Baker Street now. That building there was a bank, and then it was a Royal Infirmary. I had a few uses after that, but it was empty for a wee while. It's now a hotel, and it's called the Colassio. Now where that garden is, there used to be shops and houses, and I'll show you a picture of how it used to be. Now just where that grassy bank is, where that car's coming down, just there, used to be the Royal Mint. And this is where they cast all the coins and stuff. And it's no a sooty factory. And there's the entrance to St Mary's Wynd. A very narrow street at that time. And there's a pair of cannons there. Now, these cannons used to be in the middle of Broad Street. Why they moved them, I don't know. This is Broad Street, and that building on the left there, that's where you could take if you did something bad. And if it was really bad, they took you outside and strung you up. This column with the unicorn on top is called Puggy. This is a local name for it. But it's a unicorn, a mythological creature. Visiting artists do their thing here. Now we're heading up towards the Marswork. It's called Marswork because the Earl of Mars, he never got it properly completed. And they say a lot of the stones were pilfered from Camus Kenneth Abbey. Bonnie Prince Charlie set up a gun party near here to lob cannonballs at the castle with no much results. Amateurs. As I said, this building was never really completed, and it was eventually turned into a poor's house for the destitute in Stirling. It would have been an impressive building when it was finished. Now we're going to have a wee look out this window. That's Broad Street down there, and that's where the hangings took place, and you had a good view out from there. And here we have the Church of the Holyrood. The people that worshipped in here were an argumentative lot, so they decided to divide the church into two, the east side and the west side. And each sect had a door of their own. But they got together again and there's no division now. This is a guild hall. A hospice for the needy in Stirling. It was built by John Cowan, and that's him up in the tower there, Old Strainy Brooks. It's all been done up recently, and Strainy Brooks has got a new costume. It's looking a lot better now. There's a couple of big cannons here, and they were brought home from the Crimean War. This is the Valley Cemetery. The oldest part of this cemetery is behind the Holyrood. There's some fine old stones there, with carvings on them showing what the guy that did for a living. Some are a bit difficult to understand what they were. We've got a nice cross here though. This was made by a blacksmith, and he really was a craftsman. It's really lovely work. I'm surprised it's not been vandalised. And it's just as nice at the back of the cross. There's a hammer on there, so he's maybe a metal worker. And this guy maybe was a farmer. There's a sheaf of corn there. Or he was maybe a baker, because that looks like crossed peels. The things you took bread out of the oven with. Now this wasn't always a cemetery. It was a fairground at one time, where they did all the jousting and had horse fairs. Various things got bought and sold here. And this obelisk, this pyramid, was put up by a Mr. Drummond. A religious thing, I think. Now right over there is the Ladies' Rock. And this is where all the gentle ladies come up and could watch the goings on in the valley. And I could also see the car go over there. That's Craig Forth down there. And that's the Snowdon Cemetery over there. There used to be a house on there. It was Snowdon House. And this is the old grammar school. It's now a nice restaurant. Now we'll go upstairs here. And here we have a soldier guarding the castle. He got up there in 1905. He's an Argyll soldier from the Boer War. Here we are at King Street again. This time we're going to go left. There's a long Port Street. Into Dumbarton Road. That's a Liverpool Hall at the back there. Just behind that flower bed was the town wall. And it goes straight up there, right up the back walk. And here we have a statue of Robbie Burns, our national bard in Scotland, that is. And this is Albert Halls. All the visiting groups come here, and entertainers and stage plays, and sometimes we vote in there as well. Now this is a statue of Rob Roy McGregor, an ancestor of mine. It's a statue that nobody wanted to put up. And that sword that he should have up there always gets broken or stolen. This is the Smiths Institute, cum art gallery. The gallon jug is kept in here for the measures. And the oldest football in Scotland is kept in there. And have exhibitions now and again. We're just going to meander up this road here. And we'll come to a bit ground, a kind of park. It's called the King's Knot, locally called the Cup and Saucer. And they've got a couple of nice little gates here with two plaques on. This is a nice one. That's a wolf on the top there. I think it depicts the last wolf seen in Stirling. I'm not sure what that signifies, but probably the castle. Either way, there are a couple of nice blacksmith-made plaques. A credit to the trade. Again, I don't know why they've stayed intact. This hillock was a garden at one time, all planted out for the benefit of the king, who could look out the walls there or look out his window and see all the nice flowers. Or plants, maybe no flowers. And that bit behind the wall there is called the Haining, and this is where the local militia practiced their archery. One of these trees is reported to be about 500 years old. Now we'll go up these steps to the butt well. And this is a butt well, so called because the archers down in the Henning used to set up targets down there, called butts. The top of the town used to get their water from here, and they used to put their pails in below that spout and rest their foot on that bit of stone there where it's all worn, and then carry it all up the top of the town. I remember water coming from it. A friend of mine would take his son along here, and he would put his hands on the tree and the kid would run underneath. It does look like it's going to fall. It's been there a long time. That's what's called the lower back walk. Now here we come up to some tree carvings. There's a fellow there, deep in thought. Wonder what he's thinking about. He's maybe thinking about that dragon that's behind him. These were carved by a troop of foreign carvers. Can't remember where from. There's a unicorn behind there as well. I wonder what he's thinking about. Maybe what's for tea. Looks like a big cat. There's a lot of unicorns in Stirling. Well, he's missing his horn. And there's a wolf also. There's the station in the middle there. And we're going to head to Kenneth Abbey. To do that we need to cross this bridge here. This bridge is being renovated and rebuilt because of the electrification of the railway. In other words, the trains couldn't get under the bridge. Now that bridge wasn't always there. It was a level crossing and had a wooden bridge over the level crossing. And when they built the bridge, it left these houses in a kind of hollow. Now I'm going to head down to the harbour. At one time this harbour was quite a busy place because it was the easiest way to get cargoes from place to place, as transport was pretty rough in them days. That's a boat there. Now here's a boat unloading. The Lark. I don't know what they've got in them cradles. I think it was fertiliser though, and there's no many boats come up here now. The water seems to be a bit lower than it used to be in them days. The actual harbour is gone as well. Now if you just went straight up round there, you'd eventually get to the Firth of Forth. From the harbour we go up onto Abbey Road, and this road leads us down to the bridge down at the corner here. There's the bridge there. Now this bridge is a pedestrian bridge, and it was built as a sort of job creation for the townsfolk of Stirling. There used to be a ferry there as well. We used to ply its trade there, but the bridge finished that up. Now we're going across the bridge to see the Abbey. Here we are at the Abbey, Kenneth Abbey, and the tower's the only thing remaining. Now you need to pause your player here to read this. Mostly it's a ruin. There's some artefacts inside, but it's a long time since I've seen them. Bruce had his parliament down here after the Battle of Bannockburn. This is it in the inside at the bottom of the tower. It's locked today, so we can't go in. We can't go upstairs. Now we have a king and queen buried here under that big stone. The stone was put up by Queen Victoria in memory of her ancestors. Princess Margaret of Denmark. Pause your player here to read about the murder. That's the Wallace Monument on the Craig there. A memorial to Scotland's freedom fighter, William Wallace. And this is a boathouse in Riverside. They sometimes have regattas here. And this is what they do down here. Here we've got 4 lasses doing the rowing. Giving it all they've got. And this is where we'll end the wee film. Hope you enjoyed it.